Yeah, there's a lot of pretty girls in this place here, and they don't seem to be pretentious or anything. They're really down to earth. They're country folk, very nice girls and very cute and sexy, and they're in shape. I haven't seen one fat girl here yet, and this is rare because pretty much anywhere I've been in Philippines, like in the city type establishments, uh, a lot of obese, uh, fatty women. They got a huge gut on them, and over here they seem to be all in pretty damn good shape. So I'm pretty happy I'm here. I mean, it's nice eye candy. I can't touch them because I got a girlfriend, and if she finds out, I'm dead. And but yeah, prepare yourself. If you come here and you cheat, chances are you're gonna be dead. Period. That's it. So don't even think about that. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty happy that I managed to do that video with my cell phone. I'm looking forward to see what the results are because for the longest time I've been wanting to show you guys around like what's in here and what's in this city and what's to be done. What are the venues or anything? And I, for whatever reason, I totally forgot that you could actually take movies with a cell phone. And then I saw my girlfriend doing it the other day, and I thought, oh, what a great idea! Why don't I do that? But anyway, for this video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to, yeah, I like to sidetrack, right? The reason I said pretty girls is because right here, like next to the my buddy here that sells fried chicken or barbecue chicken, yeah, there's like chicks galore here all the time, and they're really pretty, and they're standing there and turning around and modeling it for me, and cool. And I was in Caranderia there earlier, and I was talking to my uncle, and he's pretty pissed off at my girlfriend because she leaves me in the house here and she goes to the city and she's not back for like a whole day, and I'm getting pissed off. And he says, I agree with you. I'd be pissed off too if your wife would disappear like that for a whole day and leave you alone by yourself, or just a bus showed up here with a whole bunch of people and just wondering if she's on that bus, but I guess not. But anyway, he said to me, he calls one of his cute waitresses there, and this is May. Do you like her? I said, yeah. He says, do you want her? I said, well, I'd be getting in trouble now. He says, oh, well, she'll be here waiting for you for when you break up with Grace. I said, oh, you're pretty optimistic. You say when, not if. Anyway, that's that. So I wanted to tell you how I make my uh, roasted chicken. And I've had a lot of input on this. I've made it in Canada, I've made it here, and everybody just loves it because it tastes amazing. Because I don't just throw a chicken in the pan and put salt on the outside of it and then pepper and then fire it inside the oven and let it sit there for half an hour, and there you go, you got chicken. I don't do it like that. I've learned from KFC and Mary Brown's and from the internet, some of the shows that I've seen, especially Michael Smith, he did that with a turkey. Now you marinate that thing. You don't, actually it's not a marinade, it's a brine. Water and salt, and you can put some ingredients in it too. And then you let the chicken sit there for like overnight. And then what happens is it some of the ingredients will tenderize your meat, some of them will penetrate and flavor the meat all the way to the bone. And it's pretty rare if you go to a restaurant and you buy a rotisserie chicken or a roasted chicken and the meat is flavored all the way to the bone. It's usually just the skin, and inside is bland. And same happens here in the Philippines. No wonder they give you a bowl full of sauce to dip, because they know that chicken tastes like shit. Without the sauce, the chicken's dead. So That's what I did. I actually took a pot, a big pot, because my uncle Alex gave me two chickens of the native chickens that they just butchered today, right there at his restaurant, because they cook with freshly butchered chicken there, all their dishes. They don't buy chopped up meat from a meat factory. So he asked me if I wanted to do that dish, and I said sure. So he gave me the two chickens. I brought them home. He also gave me salt and garlic and soy sauce. So what I do with this shit? Well, I'll tell you step by step. It's pretty easy, so that you don't become confused later on. How much water? How much? Never mind. I'll tell you. So you put the chickens that are all ready to go in the pot. Take a big pot that you're going to marinate your chickens in. I'll show you. This is the pot, and it's full pretty much all the way up to the top. And so you put your chickens in it that are cleaned and washed and everything. You don't have to wash them with soap. I've seen people wash them with soap. I thought, oh, that's gross. Anyway, so you stick them in that pot and arrange them in such way that they take the least height there. And then you pour water over them, just pure water, until it covers them. Not by much, by like maybe half an inch. And then you take your chickens out and you put them on a plate, and then you mix in your ingredients in there. Why did you go through this step? So that you know exactly how much water you're gonna need. How much water do you know how much you're gonna need? No, you're probably gonna make too much or too little. Then you're not gonna put enough ingredients in there, and you're gonna have to pull them out again, and it's gonna just piss you off. Why not just do it this way and eliminate all the headache? So you take your chickens out, and then you add your salt. You need anywhere between half a cup to 1 cup of salt. Try to use non-iodized salt. It's called pickling salt, and the reason for that is because iodine will make your meat taste like metal, and who wants a steel chicken? That's idiotic. So don't use iodized salt unless you really have to. The salt that I got today, I have no freaking clue what it is, because it was in a big jar with no label on it, and they said that's salt, and I stuck my finger in it and tasted it, and yeah, sure in hell it's salt. It didn't taste like iodine, but it could just as well be. Um, and one request I had from my uncle is he asked me to put Ajinomoto in it. What is Ajinomoto? MSG. And I said, oh my God, did you know they banned that in America because it gives us cancer and all that? This is anything will give you cancer if you have it in excess. Look at the cigarettes and alcohol. There's people who live to be 100 and smoke and drink. There's other people who die at 50. Maybe because it wasn't meant to be, or maybe because they smoke and drink too much. Drink in moderation. So I say Ajinomoto in moderation, and I put maybe about a tablespoon on it. He says it just makes it taste amazing. And I know it does, because I've had Chinese food, and why does it taste amazing? Because they put that shit in it, that's why. And a small dosage every now and there is not gonna kill you. It's like rat poison. You can take rat poison if you want for the rest of your life, if you just take it in small dosages. I'm not saying that you should, come on. I don't want to hear any comments about the rat poisons, okay? But don't take it. It's stupid. It's just a stupid example that I've given you. Chances are it won't kill you if you take like a little pinch every day. But if you take a tablespoon of it every day, maybe in 3 days you're gonna be packing it in. You're buying the farm. That's it. You're done. Same with the MSG. Enjoy it for what it is. Um, this entire nation here, all the Southeast Asia is using it. And guess what? They're the ones that have the least rate of cancer in the world. They don't get pretty much any cancers. They started getting cancers now because why? We have Dunkin' Donuts, for fuck's sakes, here. Yes, Dunkin' Donuts. We have it. We got Donut King. We got Donut this, Donut that. Donut pissed me off. We got KFC. TGIF. How do you think these people are getting sick? Because now they're starting to enjoy all that shit. Not to mention all the products they buy off the shelf with all the shitty chemicals and stuff, the made in America stuff, instead of eating what they used to eat before, healthy fruits and veggies off the table in the farmer's market. Eggs, everything they are bought there, and those guys don't use chemicals. They'll use some fertilizer, but they don't use pesticides and insecticides and all that. Because why? Because they're freaking expensive, and they're educated. They know that kills them and gives them cancer, and they don't want to die of cancer. But now they're starting to die of heart disease and diabetes because the fucking Dunkin' Donuts, and they're starting to eat steaks and sausage and processed meats and processed cheese and all that. Do look it up on Google. You'll find out that the Death by China, I think it was called, or whatever. I don't care. Maybe I got it wrong, but there is a movie that shows how China's population was affected by excuse me, the American influence. Oh yeah, and McDonald's, we got those two here, plenty of them. And yeah, believe it or not, they taste better than in America. My Big Mac is a star. It smells and tastes delicious. In America, I just got to a point where I thought, yeah, I can take it or leave it, whatever. I could go to Tim Hortons and buy a good sandwich there, and it'd still be good. You can't get sandwiches here. You can't get sandwiches. See, I'm sidetracking again. I've never seen a place here that sells a good sandwich. Not even a bad sandwich. There's just no sandwiches altogether. Anything that comes close to a sandwich is a hamburger. That's it. Other than that, no. Anyway, back to our chicken. And I'm not even drinking alcohol. You should see what happens when I have a bottle of Red Horse here. I'll circle around that bush for about 2 days like an airplane around an airport that can't find a place to land. So anyway, the chicken, so you have that chicken on the side. You mix your salt, which is about half a cup to a cup to 1 gallon of water. And it doesn't have to be exact, you know. And you put more salt if you want to have it over with a lot sooner. Also, if you have a bigger chicken or 2 chickens like I have there, you put a lot more salt. I put soy sauce because soy sauce is a good meat tenderizer. It's very good actually. And that Ajinomoto that I said that I put in, yeah, put it on. I don't care. I'll try it. I always wanted to not die because of smoking, so there you go. I'm trying a different path this time around. I even tasted it. I put it on my finger and my, oh yeah, it tastes like salt, whatever. It is salt. It's just a different kind of salt. So, garlic, yes. You can peel fresh garlic and put it in a pestle jar and beat the shit out of it. You can chop it finely and make a paste out of it on your chopping board. You can buy granulated garlic and put that shit in there. I usually do that because it's just as easy. And not only that, but because it's granulated and dehydrated already, when you throw it in there, it rehydrates and it releases all that flavor right away. If you got big chunks of garlic put in there, it'll never release the flavor because the water can't get inside the chunk of garlic to get the flavor out. So do yourself a favor if you can, just use the powdered garlic. Powder is even better. I don't like the powder because when I pour it out of the jar, it just gets up in the air and I start breathing garlic. Who wants to breathe garlic? I'll eat it, no problem, but breathe like, hey, I got a clove of garlic right here, and I decided I was gonna eat it just like that. I love garlic that much. Oh, this one's hot. Good. But I got way more garlic. That's not even the beginning. Over there. This one tastes sweet. Yum. Okay, so you stir that shit a lot until the salt gets dissolved, while the garlic goes into the water. And oh yeah, and soy sauce, other than it makes the meat be tender, it's also salty, so careful how much you put in it. I put like half a glass, a drinking water type glass in there. You can never put too much salt if you don't leave it there forever. You know, all that salty water is going to want to penetrate in the meat and go all the way deep and all that. But if you don't let it sit there for like a century, it's only going to get a little bit, you know. Like originally I was planning on doing that chicken tomorrow. I'll let it sit overnight and all that jazz, and I thought, fuck that, I'm not going to wait all that time. I'm just going to do it tonight because I feel like chicken tonight. And I've got a loaf of bread that's fermenting here, and I'm going to bake a bread, and then we'll roast the chicken, and we'll walk over to Uncle Alex, and he might even be impressed with me, and he might just hire me as a chef and kick all the other guys out of there. Because he said, I'm getting tired of Philippine food too. I want something exotic. I want something good, something better, something that's going to attract my clientele. This shit's not attracting the clientele. The only thing it's attracting is the lazy clientele. Those guys that like Filipino food and they don't like to cook it at home. So they come here because it's already cooked. He says, I would like to eat the exotic one. The one that you eat because we don't know how to cook. He's pretty intelligent. So you put your chicken in there and you let it sit for, like I said, as long as you want. I wouldn't let it any more than 24 hours. Well, you can leave it up to 24 hours, I would say, depending on how much salt you put in there. And soy sauce, and then when you're ready, like I'm not gonna leave it that long. I put it in maybe about an hour ago, and let's see, what time is it now? It's 4:30, so maybe about 7, because it was 3:30. Yeah, so 6:37, something like that. I should be able to get it in the oven. And then I keep getting distracted because my neighbor is walking around here all the time. I take a baking dish. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be with a cover because we're not going to cover it unless you really want to. If you really want to cover it, then cook it your own way and don't listen to my video because I ain't going to tell you. This way it's cooked without the cover. So you take that dish, you put it on the table, you take your chickens out of the brine, not the brain. You dry it, and then you drizzle some oil on it, and then you sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt or big type salt. Not a lot because you already put salt in it. And then if you want to put some paprika, I don't have paprika here, so I don't really care. You can put some other spices like rosemary, thyme, oregano, whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. Like at this point in time, it's your game, it's your show. And then you rub it good on the chicken there, and then you stick it in the oven, and the oven must be pre-warmed at 350. So once it's 350, you stick her in there, and you let her relax for an hour and a half. Depends on what type of oven you got. If your oven cooks unevenly and you got cold at the front and hot at the back, or vice versa, to me it doesn't matter because I got a convection oven and I got pretty even temperature everywhere. So I just do that. I stick it in there and I leave it alone for an hour and a half. An hour and a half it comes, then I pull it out and I take something to cover it, like foil, but right now we don't have foil here, so I'm gonna probably take another tray and stick it on top, and that's what I'm going to bake it in. Or not bake it, but rest it, sorry. uh, Rest time is about 15 minutes. Not in the oven, outside of the oven, on top of the oven, on your countertop, on your picnic table, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just let it sit. I've been told many stories about this and what it does and what it accomplishes, and it says that it redistributes the juices inside the chicken and all that jazz, and that sounds like bullshit to me. Sounds like now you're about to buy snake oil too. I don't think so. I don't think it redistributes anything. I think it stops the juices from flowing out when you're cutting into the chicken, because I've tried it both ways. I thought, bullshit, I don't believe that, I'm gonna cut it like this. And the second I cut into the chicken, all of those beautiful clear juices, they started running out on my cutting board, and it just basically ruins your chicken. Now you're gonna eat dry chicken. If I leave it for about 15 minutes to cool down, it kind of congeals those juices in there, and when you slide your knife into it, they're not going to squirt out of it. So now you're going to eat juicy chicken. Who needs the dip, right? You got the flavors in there, you got everything. So that's a good way of doing it. So then what you need to do, once it's cooled, take the lid off of it and take your best knife and cut that sucker. And don't do what the Filipinos do here. This is a disgrace to chicken. Oh my God. They take a chicken and they take a big meat cleaver like this and they start hacking at it. They don't disjoint it. They just cut through the bones. Those bones are so fragile and wow. Thought it was a fire truck, but it's just a regular flat deck. And they're brittle, those bones, and you end up with chunks of chicken with shards of bones, and then you try to eat that and it ends up in your mouth, and sometimes you can't get them all and you swallow the wrong one, and then you might kill yourself by swallowing shards of bone and all that. What if that doesn't get dissolved in your stomach? I mean, it should. But imagine you're on the throne next day and you're trying to shit a shard of bone. It's like shitting a folding knife sideways, or I don't even know. It's stupid. Anyway, don't do that. And I told Uncle Alex today, and he says, oh, the reason they're doing that is because they're saving time. I'm thinking, so what the fuck? How much time do you save? You save like 5 minutes, because what I do is if I make a soup, and this is their soup, also their right here, the lechoneria, the barbecue chicken. He does exactly the same thing. And I keep telling these guys, when I buy chicken from them, please don't hack the shit out of it with your cleaver. Give it to me in one piece. I'll disjoint it and eat it myself. So They said that they save time. Well, no, they don't. If it's barbecued, you just take a knife and you cut it at the joints, and like everybody does in America. You've never seen some frickin' maniac with a Chinese cleaver going at a chicken or a turkey like he's a zombie. It's like, fuck, what an asshole. And then your guests, you end up eating that shit. That's just not done anywhere in a civilized world. Anyway, so I said to him, what I would do is, if it's a soup, I would disjoint the chicken before I put it in the soup, and just throw in, the drumsticks, the thighs, the backs, whatever, the breast that's been cut in half or four, and the wings and all that. And then let them there and boil with the bones in. Don't take the bones out, because I do believe that bones do make a good soup, a way better soup than a soup that didn't have bones. So you let it boil until they boil the shit out of them, and all the meat falls off the bone, because it's a soup and it should. You don't have to do it medium rare or anything. That's just, no. It's soup. Then, once the meat is boiled and you're satisfied that it's edible and it falls on off the bone, then you take them out with the bone. You put it on the plate, let it cool, and then you. Oh, looks like my big boy wants to go out. Hold on. Hey, buddy. Then you take the pieces of meat that have bone in, and then you, even by hand or with the fork, just pull off that meat. And now you're left with the bones, which you give it to your dog, because that's what the good daddy should do. I know, don't give me that shit North American crap that, oh no, dogs shouldn't have bones. Really? What the fuck do you think wolves are eating? Do you think they're going to turn down a bone because they think they might choke on it, or end up in surgery tomorrow because they didn't know how to eat a fucking bone? If you think dogs can't chew bones, you're a fucking moron. Maybe, and if your vet tells you that, tell him he's a fucking moron too. Because I believe so. I had a vet that told me that, and I did tell her that she's a fucking moron. And she should take better biology classes, because she missed a lot of them, because she doesn't know what wolves we eat. Oh no, but these are not wolves, they're dogs. Yeah, fuck off. Anyway, it's pretty simple. You don't want to give it to your dog, just throw it away. I don't care. Then chop up that meat that you got there, make it in smaller pieces, and then throw it back into the soup, heat them up again. There you go, you got good soup. None of your guests are annoyed by your frickin' shards of bone in your soup anymore. Got that? That's the way it should be. Make it easy and pleasant for your guests to eat your dinner. Don't give them suicide options, and don't make it harder on them. Be nice to your guests. Anyway, I think I've lectured you enough on how to cook and how to not eat shards of bones and all that, and I really hope that you enjoy that recipe for chicken. The one thing that I actually forgot to tell you, before I actually put the chicken in in the oven, put some garlic on it, whether it's granulated or you take some of the fresh one and make a paste out of it, mix it with salt and a little oil, and you call that aioli. Italians invented that shit, believe it or not. That's why they call it aioli. And they use that to even dip the chicken in after it's cooked. And yes, you can save some of it for dipping the chicken in after it's cooked, because it's delicious. And garlic is great for you. Did you know? It's good to your heart. Apparently it wards off cancer, and it cures coughs, colds, cold sores, and pimples on the penis. I think that's what I was told. So they said that you can't get a cold, you can't get cancer, and you can't get a girlfriend either, because you get garlic breath. And that's it. Good night, guys. I will make another one soon, and we'll enjoy that one too. Talk to you later.